Hello and welcome to Console Cowboys. So today we're going to do a live video walkthrough and you're going to shadow me on a embedded recon portion of a black team engagement. How I would go through a facility and analyze the various things that I'm seeing from a security perspective. That way it'll give you a little firsthand experience on how to do it as if you were looking over my shoulder. So hopefully this is useful to you. If it is, like, subscribe, and please share this out in your social media and get this information out there. So let's get started. First off, what is embedded recon? Well, embedded recon is when you are walking through a facility to observe all of those security controls, pathways through the facility of least resistance, and various ways that you can utilize tools later on to bypass these things. So this is a very, very important part of the engagement once you want to get up close and personal and you're on site. Now, how would you gain access to the facility? Well, a lot of times you're going to be doing shared facilities. So you can walk right through the front door and there's suite doors everywhere. You can see what security controls are. They're RFID outside the facility that turn on at night versus the day. What do the suite doors look like? What are the security controls on there? Can you tailgate into something if it's not a shared facility? And walk around and see what you see and take notes for later on without getting busted and burning yourself, or make an appointment, get an interview, do some social engineering, get inside a facility, walk around, see what you see. Now, in this case, this is a hotel, so I could just walk straight through here and show you a whole bunch of stuff of what I'd be doing once I get inside. So let's get right to it. So I'm going to play the video and we're going to talk about it. So I'm walking up to a facility. And first thing I see is a black box on the wall with a red strip. Now you may or may not recognize that, but it has a rapid responder box, a Knox box, and you could tell by that red strip. Now inside of there are ways for first responders to gain access to that building. So it could be RFID cards, could be keys, could be all kinds of good goodies. Now, these are keyed regionally to get inside this box. So every single box in the region has the same key, some kind of master key. So you got to get a hold of one of those to get inside of this. Once you get inside of this, you get a hold of a lot of good stuff. So how would you get one of those keys? Well, you might find a building that's not being used anymore and it's just open. There's nothing in there, but you can pull out the cylinder for the lock, check out all of the key pins and figure out the byting, create your own key. Or if you know somebody in the area or have a business in there and you can get a hold of one of these, it should be keyed the same way as this one and everything in the region. So something to think about and recognize as you're looking at a facility, because it's definitely a way in for criminals and it's definitely something you should check if it's possible. And next up, we have a camera. Now this camera probably is not monitoring you 24/7, but it is taping who messes with that lockbox. And it's taping who is messing with this call box and this RFID reader. So if you hit that call box, they might be looking right at you as they check who's at the door when you're talking with them. Now, this call box, not like a Door King or a Lanier where you could put a key into it and open up the door with it, but it's more of just a two-way radio, it looks like. And then we have an RFID reader on here. Now, we want to zoom into all of these things very, very closely so we can do Google image searches on them if we don't know what they are. So like this RFID reader, I could see a little logo on there. I want to zoom up close, take a picture, Google image search, and kind of figure out what I can do with this, what the frequency is it's using, high or low, maybe what technologies are being used, what the vendor are, is there any bypasses for that, etc. And do the same thing for like that Knox box. Now, if I was to bring that up and I was Google image searching like a Knox box online, it might bring up something like this. And then I could read through here. Okay, this is a rapid access key box, eliminates the need for forced entry. Perfect. So now I know what it is. I could read through and try to figure out how those work, figure out though those are using like regional keys, etc. So things to think about. You're walking around the building and walking through the building. If you don't recognize something, but it looks like it might be important, zoom in, take a picture, Google image search later. You might find a tool that helps you bypass something. Now, as far as these readers go in the Knox box, right, we can get the regional key, potentially get in there. This, I don't think I can install an ESP key on here. Maybe I can, just unscrewing all four of those bolts, but it's a little more problematic than your standard reader with one screw. But you could potentially do that. And you could also put a fake reader there and get people to scan both. Depending on what type of cards is being used, that may or may not work. So let's keep going. What else are we seeing? So walk through this door. First off, it's a double door, so we could probably slide something between there. It automatically opened for me, so it's not an issue now. But we do have crash bars there. So likely if this is locked because of fire restrictions, whatever, it's probably a very light touch bar that might open that door. We could slide something through, touch that bar, open that door. So let's keep going. I'm walking through a lobby here, so I'm just keeping the camera down so we don't get people on tape or make people nervous because, this is just a shared area. This is going through a hotel, but it has a lot of good things for you guys to see. So off in the distance here, we see a janitor's cart, and that is very, very important. We're going to talk about why that's important in a moment. But first we see, okay, there's doors, housekeeping, but maybe it's a server room, maybe it's something else, and we see a different type of RFID reader on there. So again, we want to take a picture of that. We want to look up that on the internet. What's it using? How is it different than the other one they're using? Why are they using a different one? Try to figure that out. We also see a standard handle, and we see a little shadow under this door down here if we scroll down and look at it. So that tells us we could probably get under that door, grab that handle. And we also see a metal piece there, which tells me that they're blocking slipping this latch because it was probably a problem. So a lot of times what they'll just do is put like a metal thing that goes partway up the door and usually just slide something behind there and detach the latch. So I like to see those as telling me there's something wrong with the latch. And if there's screws on the outside of this, we can unscrew it and then slip the latch. So other things to think about. Now let's get on to our janitor's cart. So our janitor's cart is a very important thing. If these are around our facility because they're cleaning it, these things are a treasure trove of information, such as keys and RFID cards to get into every single building within the facility. Maybe not the server room, maybe not a CEO's office, but most places, and you'll get data off of these cards, or you'll be able to have a working key for most of the facility. So we want to target these. Now, how would we target these? Because there's a janitor associated with this inside that room. Well, we could very quickly walk up to that cart, grab a key, have some putty that we can put into like an impressioning thing if we were to duplicate that key and get a quick duplication of that or take a picture of it. We can look at the byting codes and create our own key from either one of those. Now, if this is RFID, we can have a flipper with us, or we can steal the card and replace it while they're busy inside that room and get a hold of a copy of that key if it's something that we can clone and copy. So I didn't steal one from here because I'm not contracted to attack this facility. That would be a bit out of scope in my non-scoped engagement. But I do have my own hotel key because this is a hotel which uses the same technology as the rest of the building. So let's see if we can crack that. So let me pop on another video here really quickly, and I will load that up. All right, so that is started up. I tossed my hotel key on here, and we have our Proxmark PM3 open here. We're going to just type auto, really simple, auto. It's going to search for LF, low frequency. It's going to search for high frequency. It's going to see if it sees something that it recognizes, and it says, oh yeah, I see something. There's a MyFair Classic 1K card, and you can use HFMF cards to utilize this, and it's using weak PRNG detection. Awesome. So we can use this HFMF, so we type in, let me kill that. So we got HF, MF, and we'll do auto. And what this is going to do, it's going to check what type of card it's using, and it's going to try to decrypt it, grab keys, figure out what's going on in each of these sectors. So it does, and it comes back and it says, okay, I found all the keys for all 16 sectors using D, N, and R right here. So that would be dictionary attack. It would be the reused attack, and it would be the nested attack, was able to grab all of these keys. So now that we have these, we can view data on here. We could say eView, and we could scroll up and we see what sectors have data in here. And we have the keys so we can decrypt things, we can clone things, etc. But we're probably not going to have a Proxmark 3 on us as we're walking around doing embedded recon. So what we can do is we can use a flipper. So I'm going to toss this underneath a flipper, and then we're going to utilize an attack on that because you can just throw that right in your pocket. It's probably one of the most useful things you can bring on an engagement with you if you're doing any kind of electronic attacks. Now, I've heard people say, oh, these are bad to carry because people know what they are. But, I call BS on that because most people have no clue what you're doing, and it's very, very useful for all kinds of attacks. So we're going to scroll down to NFC, and we're going to just hit read. Now what it's going to do is going to read the card. It's going to figure out what technology it's using under high frequency with NFC. And then it notes, oh, this is a MyFair Classic card. So it's going to use its dictionary attacks. And it's going to try to find all the keys. It finds 26 right off the bat. And then there's 13 sectors it's able to read out of 16, but the attack is still going. So I'm going to pause while this attack is going. We're going to see if it gets all of them. All right, so it did find all of them. So we have 32 of 32 keys found. We have access to all of the sectors. So what this means is we can clone this card. So if we scroll over, we can hit save, and we probably want to do that and name it something like our target name or what have you. And then we can also emulate. We're already inside the building, so if there was somewhere else we wanted to get a view of, or we get locked out of somewhere into a stairwell, we could probably now get out of that or into somewhere we want to get. We just hit emulate. Now it's emulating the card. We can put that up to a reader and gain access. That simple. We can also look at the info of the card, and we could see, the UID and some other data associated with the card. Perfect. So now we have a card, and we've attacked a janitor in order to get a hold of that. What we want to do is replace that card so they don't know that it's missing, and it's as if nothing ever happened. So that's perfect. Now let's keep walking through, and we'll see what else we see. So now I see another door over here. Now this is to the side of the facility, and it's not associated with the front desk. We're going to bypass the front desk, but looks like it has a potential magnet up here with some electric that's powering that. And it has you can see the sunlight coming out of the side. So you can definitely stick something through there. You can definitely stick something underneath it, and it has a crash bar. So if I was to guess, I would say this crash bar releases this magnet, as well as there's an RFID out front that then will release this magnet and allow you in, and you can bypass the front desk potentially. Now, how would we tell maybe that there's something like that from the outside? Well, we can take a look at another video here really quick where I zoomed into this. So we see, okay, potential magnet up here that would get released. I'm going to open up this door by pushing the crash bar. And we see a large bolt up there, which indicates something is bolted on there, and it's probably a magnet that attaches to that magnet. So now we know, okay, that's how this is functioning. If we stick something through here, engage this crash bar, it'll release that and let us in. Now, I could be incorrect about this, but that's what I'm guessing based on the setup here. So let's continue on. And we see cameras up on the wall and the ceilings. Now, they're probably not monitoring those 24/7, but they can look back if there was an attack. And we head over, there's an elevator. Now, it looks like there is a phase 1 fire elevator key. It might be an F10K key because it's using tubular, which is pretty standard for all of these fire things. You can buy one of those keys online. Now, if you were to turn this key, it would bring the elevators all the way down to the bottom floor. Now, all the elevators. So it's going to be quite disruptive to the facility, and you really need to know what you're doing. But it is an option if you need to bypass controls. Maybe there's an RFID reader on this and it wouldn't work for you. So that's something to think about. Now, as far as those keys go, you can buy keys. So you could buy, like from Sparrows, a full set of fire service elevator keys and try one of those and see which one works. You can also buy them on Red Team Tools. Just get like an FEOK1 key, or you can get like a set of keys that open up drawers, open up call boxes, open up elevators, all kinds of things that you would need as you're walking around a facility. Definitely something to invest in if you are doing a lot of black teaming engagements. So once we do that, we can call that down and we can get inside the elevator. Now, there's also some other keyways up there. We'd probably want to look at what the wording is, maybe Google that online, figure out what those do as well. But they were using two blocks as well, so they might use the same key as this one, and we might be able to reuse that. Now, if I hop into this elevator, I'm just clicking a floor right now, and then we're going to zoom in on a couple things and see what's going on here. So now we have another fire thing. So that's probably like your phase 2. The other one was phase 1. So after you do phase 1, you could do phase 2. You could take control of the elevator. Now, note on this, once you take control of the elevator, you're going to have to manually close those doors and open those doors because they're meant for fire responders. And they don't want those things automatically opening or automatically closing. So just something to note with that. But that's also using a tubular lock. And then we have another tubular lock down here. These are probably using all the same key. So we probably open that. There might be a phone in there, or things to think about. If there's an RFID reader on this cab as you're going up the elevator, it might only allow you to go to certain floors. And you open up one of these panels inside of this elevator, there might be a switch to turn off the RFID part. Then you can click the floor you want, flip the switch back on, close this up, and keep going. Or there may be other keys in here, or something like independent service mode, which is better for you to use than messing around with the fire, because you could take control of the elevator without all of the fire elements to it. So that's something to think about inside these panels. You could pick that probably with a tubular lock, as well as maybe it's using a default like F10K key. Now we scroll up and there's a fire operators, and it's also using a tubular lock. Same thing again there. Look in there, see what's inside. There might be useful things for bypassing things in there, or other modes of service that you can utilize for the elevator. So that's perfect. And the reason a lot of this stuff's important, I'm looking right now to see, like, are there any cameras in here watching me if I was to mess with this? Because maybe I'm going to hide in this elevator till they close and take control of it, then independent service mode, and then open up, go out there and do my attack after everybody leaves. But the reason all of this stuff is important is because maybe you get in that side door, and the way up to get into other parts of the facility, you have to go past the front desk. But if you get through the side door, you use this elevator, but it's got access control. You can bypass all the access control with independent service mode or fire mode or whatever, and gain access to what you need without ever going past that front desk. Could be very, very useful. Also, like I said, good place to hide, play video games till they close, and then check it out. So now we're walking down the hall. None of this stuff really matters, but as I go, you'll see like there's shadows under those doors and gaps you can get underneath those doors, and they're using handles you can grab. Right, so out here I have my room, and here is a gap under the door. And then you go up and you see a handle. Now that handle is something you could probably grab with an under the door tool. So we want to look at what's inside of here. If this was a conference room, CEO's desk, or a server room, something you want to get into, you'll look inside of here. We look down, we see a handle we can grab, and we also see a gap under the door. So we can use our under door tool and get in there. But now there's other things to think about. So, okay, we got in the building, we checked out all this stuff, we can gain access to our floor, we know how to get there, we have a pathway past the front desk. Maybe that's not ideal. Maybe we want to find another pathway in. Well, if we go down the hall, we might find additional exits, side stairwells, emergency fire stuff, etc. Maybe we can utilize one of those. So if we hop back out in this hallway and we look down, we see, oh, look, there's another entrance over here, and where is that going? We want to check that out. So we see a crash bar. Perfect. We look down, we see there's a gap underneath there we could possibly utilize for something. Push the crash bar and go through. We see the latch, and there's some kind of protection. Might not be able to slip it. We look up top, and we're looking for like little circles or little plastic things that are like magnets, something that would be an alarm that we'd have to bypass if we went through this side door. So we want to look for that, because we can walk through it from here legitimately, but coming the other way at night, there might be alarms turned on. We want to look for those across the top of those doors, because we could disable those with magnets potentially later on. We'll look in the stairwell now and be like, okay, in this stairwell, are there any cameras that would see us on this side exit? And then we're going to look, okay, here's the latch to get in. Now, if I couldn't get back through that door and I hadn't cloned a key, and I could check if my key works here. But also, I could take a piece of duct tape and put it over that, because I have access to it right now. And that'll help me later on when I'm breaking in to just open up that door without worrying about any kind of access control or locks on that door. We can duct tape that. And then we're going to look up. We see a sprinkler system type thing maybe, or something else. And it has a master lock on it, which you could probably pick in 2 seconds. I don't think you need to mess with that for any reason whatsoever, but just something to note. And we're just going to look around, like what's in this stairwell. We probably want to walk down. First, make sure we can get back through that door, put the duct tape on there, walk all the way down, see if there's a pathway into the building that bypasses everything, and we can get up to where we need to be on the 3rd, 4th floor, wherever we're at right here. So with that all said, that is just a quick walkthrough of what I would be doing on embedded recon inside a facility. We used a non-disclosed location of a random hotel to check this out, because it was a good target with a lot of things that you would normally see on your engagement. So it was very like an engagement you would go on. So let's quickly recap all the things that we did in this video. And if you learned some good stuff in this video, let me know below in the comments. Hit me with a like and share this out with your friends. Now, in this video, we covered a ton of material. And the point of all of this is figuring out how to do our attack phase later by understanding the security controls in the building while we walk around, the pathways into the building of least resistance to bypass things like front desks, security, etc., how to utilize the things within the environment, such as janitorial staff, to get a hold of access to other parts of the facility, and then take pictures of various things throughout facility so we know what type of keys to bring back with us, what type of tools to bring back with us to bypass elevators, bypass doors. You know, we duct taped our entrance for the way back in. We checked for alarms on those side entrances back in. We really want to set ourselves up for success later on by utilizing the ability to do embedded recon phase. So hopefully this was all useful for you. If it is, let me know in the comments and we'll see what other type of videos that we can do in the future. Catch you later.